If you had told me a year ago that building a treehouse would turn my peaceful suburban life into a battlefield, I would have laughed and handed you a lemonade. But here I am, knee-deep in city codes and HOA bylaws, all because of one woman, Karen. I live in Maple Hollow, your typical American suburb. It's got the perfectly trimmed hedges, block parties in the summer, and an HOA so strict that they'll send a warning if your grass gets half an inch too tall. It's the kind of place where everyone smiles at each other. But behind those smiles, oh boy, there's drama. It started innocently enough. My 8-year-old son, Mason, came home from school one day, wide-eyed and excited, after reading about Swiss Family Robinson. "Dad, can we build a treehouse, like a real one, with rope ladders and everything?" I smiled, and something in my chest clicked. See, when I was a kid, I always wanted one too, but my old man was more about practicality than imagination. Now, as a single dad trying to give Mason the world, I figured, why not? We picked out the perfect tree. A sturdy oak in the backyard, tall and strong, its branches stretching wide like open arms. It stood at the very back of my property, far from any fence line, just where the sun dipped behind the houses at dusk. I sketched the design myself, safe, stylish, nothing crazy. A small deck, railings, a ladder, and even a little pulley system. So by the time the third violation notice landed in my mailbox, I had a folder thicker than a middle school yearbook full of regulations, printed emails, and pictures of the treehouse from every possible angle. I wasn't just building for my son anymore. I was knee-deep in what my best friend Dave called suburban guerrilla warfare. Mason didn't know any of this. To him, it was still just the coolest fort ever. He had even named it Sky Base Alpha. He spent every afternoon there, drawing space maps and pretending to fend off alien invasions with a pair of toy binoculars. The sound of his voice echoing from the trees made it all worth it. But Karen wasn't backing down. In fact, she was stepping things up. It started with passive-aggressive neighborhood posts. Our HOA had a Facebook group, and Karen posted vague complaints like, "Some people think the rules don't apply to them." Sad example for children. She never used my name, but everyone knew who she meant. A few people chimed in to agree, but, to my surprise, more defended me. "It's just a treehouse, Karen. Let the kid have fun. At least someone's doing something creative with their yard." It only seemed to make her angrier. That Friday evening, I was out back tightening some of the deck bolts when Mason shouted from above, "Dad!" Miss Karen's pointing her phone at us again. I looked up, and sure enough, there she was on her patio, holding her phone horizontally, filming. I waved sarcastically. Later that night, I received an email from the HOA board. Karen had submitted security footage with claims that the treehouse gave us a direct line of sight into her second-story bathroom window. I almost laughed. First, the treehouse didn't even face her property. After the failed vote at the HOA meeting, I thought we had won. Mason celebrated with a pizza party in Skybase Alpha, complete with paper plates and juice boxes shared with the neighborhood kids. There was laughter in the air again, and for a few weeks everything felt normal. But like a horror movie villain, Karen wasn't gone. She was just regrouping. About 3 weeks after the meeting, I received a certified letter, not from the HOA, from Karen's personal lawyer. Inside was a cease and desist notice, citing privacy invasion, emotional distress, and unauthorized construction that violates the peaceful enjoyment of neighboring properties. She threatened to file a civil suit if the treehouse wasn't taken down within 10 days. I read it twice, stunned. She was serious. I called my attorney, a friend from college named Melissa, who now worked in property law. I sent her everything: the letter, my HOA records, the city permits, the documentation. She called me the next day. "She's bluffing," Melissa said. "The letter's full of overreaches. There's no evidence of invasion of privacy or emotional harm, and your structure is fully legal. I'd be happy to respond on your behalf." We drafted a response and sent it by the end of the day, politely informing Karen that her claims were unfounded, and that any attempt to pursue them further could be considered harassment. I hoped that would be the end of it. It wasn't. The next week, I woke up to a notice of violation, posted literally nailed to the tree itself. But this time, it was from the county building inspector's office. Karen had filed a new complaint directly with the county, bypassing the HOA, and claimed that I had used improper supports that made the structure unsafe. Once again, I welcomed the inspector. He arrived on a Thursday morning. I took time off work to walk him through the treehouse construction. He was actually pretty cool, an older guy named Don who reminded me of my high school shop teacher. "I gotta say," he muttered while examining the support beams, "this is better than half the stuff I see out here." He ran some tests, measured the deck, and checked the joists. "You overbuilt this," he chuckled. "This thing could survive a tornado. I'll send the report, should clear you completely." And he did. Karen was officially out of moves. Or so I thought. The final straw came one evening in late spring. I came home from work to find Mason sitting on the porch, quiet. His eyes were red. "What's wrong, buddy?" He looked up at me, then pointed to the treehouse. Spray paint. Bright red letters scrawled across the front panel. "Unsafe. Remove or else." My heart dropped. Mason whispered, "Was it Miss Karen?" I didn't have proof, but I knew. No one else had a vendetta. No one else had a key to the side gate. And no one else would stoop that low. I took photos and called the police to file a vandalism report. They took it seriously, more seriously than I expected. Apparently, since Karen had made